Fighters, you ever felt like that you are enslaved by your business, like you're locked in a fucking jail cell? Well, listen, you're going to want to hear this conversation that fight coach and badass GC Anthony Abbott and I have. So buckle up, and at the end, hit the link that we talk about. It's down in the description or in the show notes, and take advantage of something we have for you right now to help you move a little bit closer to the financial freedom that you want, so that you are no longer getting bitch slapped every day by your business. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Anthony. Anthony, what's up, man?
What's going on, Tom? How are you?
I'm all right. I think I've had an easier week than you've had.
I certainly hope so, man. It's been a rough one.
Fill us in, man. Give people like, what happened?
So I'm highly allergic to bees and wasps. I got stung probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and found out then that I was allergic. I'd been stung plenty of times before, but it almost killed me. Wednesday, 15 minutes before I was supposed to make a call for the fight, I got stung by a wasp putting a card up outside of Sam's Club, and I knew it was going to be bad. So I already had my AirPods in, had Siri call my wife, told her what was going on, shot myself with one EpiPen, hopped in the truck, drove myself to urgent care, let them shoot me with another and a bunch of other stuff, and got me to the hospital, saved my life. Got home.
But there's more.
Yeah. Got home and was feeling okay. And then at about 1 o'clock in the morning, my heart started racing out of my chest. Literally, it was like insane. So I called the VA. I called the emergency room at the VA, and the nurse there asked me some triage questions. She said, "You need to call an ambulance." So I hung up and called 911, and found myself in the back of another ambulance, headed to another hospital. And they checked me out and just basically said I was having a reaction to the massive amount of steroids that they had given me earlier in the day, and that time will heal those wounds. So here I am, alive after sleeping for like 10 hours yesterday.
There's more.
Yeah.
What happened this morning, damn it?
7:30 this morning, my son comes to me and says, "Dad, I'm itching. I think I got some bug bites." A week before, I had him at the urgent care, the same one, mind you, because he had some fire ant bites playing around in the yard with his sister, and which had swollen up and he had a reaction to. So they gave him some antibiotics. Well, my son has been allergic to penicillin since he was 2 years old and almost died then. And so the antibiotic they gave him is in a family that's closely related to penicillin. So he was having an allergic reaction to that, albeit it wasn't anything crazy, but he's uncomfortable. He's broken out in hives. So I took him back to the same urgent care I'd already been to 3 times this week. And we got him some antihistamines. We got him going. He'll be patched up and back to 100% in a couple days.
Damn, man.
So now, aside from having Wi-Fi knocked out and my other first world problems, we're doing pretty good, man.
Oh, well, hopefully this will be your most enjoyable few minutes of the day, stress-free, without the ER shots, steroids, urgent care, all that stuff. So anyway, it's sounds like a little bit of a struggle there, but you got through it. You texted me, you're like, "I'm hard to kill, damn it." And that was good.
It's by design, dude. It's by design.
It's by design. That's right. Well, speaking of struggle, most contractors that we know, both of us included in this, started their business and ended up realizing that they were, what's the word? Chaining themselves to the struggle. They were in prison, being, they're working their asses off. They're trying to provide a better life, leave a legacy and this and that. But after a few years of working in my business in the early days, and I know you, really just managed to enslave themselves to the fucking banks and the credit card companies, and they're living check to check and all this other stuff. I know back earlier this year, you came out here and we recorded some good stuff.
That was fun.
And had a really long about an hour and was it like a 2 hour podcast or something we
It
did?
was something. It
It
was
was
like a
like,
marathon.
yeah,
That was awesome, dude.
yeah. And we talked about a lot about your story and stuff. So we don't need to get too crazy with that. All you need to know, guys, is Anthony wasn't making any money. Then he got his shit together and then he's making a lot of money.
That's pretty much sums it up,
and,
man.
and no longer enslaved, by the business. And I found that we all start a business, we go into business, we buy a business, whatever, because we want financial freedom,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, if you don't have a few things down straight with knowledge, number one, and then on the other side, implementation and discipline, you're going to find yourself in that situation. And there's probably a lot of people listening to this right now that are in that situation. And guys, we want to share a little bit with you today and give you some hope, that there's a way out. And first, it starts with you, right? The person in the mirror. You got to own your crap. What did that look like for you, man?
I think for me, the longest time, I shared this story with you and Derek and a lot of the other guys, is I'd ride around and I'd see people driving these nice, big, shiny trucks, the one that I always wanted. And then I had this attitude of it must be nice,
Yeah,
and why can't that be me? And so I was riding around with a victim mindset
yeah,
and not taking accountability and responsibility and ownership for the situation that I was in. I was blaming it on the world or the market, the economy, or other contractors and this and that. When in reality, it was all my fault because I didn't know how to run a business. I wasn't marketing. I wasn't great at sales, and I surely didn't have my numbers right. So
mm,
the sales I was making weren't high enough. And it was when, I made the mindset shift and said, you know what, this is my fault, but it's also going to be my fault for success because if I'm going to do the work. That's when
yeah,
everything really changed. And we talked about it in that podcast. It was that night I was binge watching Tom Reber videos in my bed with my head under the covers, my little fort. And but you would the first time I'd ever really heard about a victim mindset was then, and I was like, you know what, this guy's right. I hate to admit it,
mm.
but this is me, and it changes
Hmm.
now. I'm no longer a victim. Now I'm going on the attack. I'm going on the offensive. So that was that crystallized moment.
So on that, are there times now that you find yourself maybe starting to inch your way towards that victim mindset? Do you ever struggle with that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even these years later, and being ingrained in FW culture and trying our best not to be victims, I think we're still human,
Hmm.
and sometimes the weight of the world will just kind of things coming left and right and left and right, and sometimes we have that small voice in the back of our mind saying, "Why me? Why does this have to be me?"
Yeah.
And but it's about how you mitigate, how you manage it, and what you do about it. It's, do you let that go on and on and on, or do you have that awakening and that moment of clarity where you say, wait, you know what? This is broken thinking. This is not me. I'm the FW. I'm going to turn this around. So it,
Hmm.
I don't think anyone is immune to the victim mindset. It
Right.
happens. It's just how we respond.
Well, I mean, shit. Even before we hit record today, um, I said to you, I said lately, like meaning the last couple days, I've been so just jammed up with shit that I have to do that you get paralyzed, right? You
Oh
have all
yeah,
these things that you have to do. You know what you have to do, and it's been an absolute crazy couple days of. I mean, there's family things going on, and that are, with a health issue of my mother-in-law. There's my sister-in-law's in town for that, so I'm playing taxi man,
yeah.
driving her back and forth to the hospital. Lee's got her horse show. She's in horse show season. She's a trainer. I started another business. It's
So
like,
you have a few
yeah,
things going on.
I got a few things. And then the fight, and then we're planning for Mile High and all the different things. And I mean, dude, it's
That's
just,
small
and
feat.
and I sit here and I look at the list that I have, and um, it's very easy if you're not aware of this to do nothing.
Yeah.
And I was feeling it this morning when I got up. Like I mean, I've been waking up every morning like way earlier than I need to. and just my eyes are open with all the things I have to do. And I have to tell you that being in the right environment, hanging around the right people has helped me to be able to just recognize those moments and just go, okay, this is one of those moments. You got to win the moments, man. I got to win this moment. And so, nothing in me wanted to actually get up today and do the shit that I had to do, but I got up and I grabbed my coffee and I went out on my front porch like I always do. And I'm like, I was actually going to jump right into just getting to work. And I'm like, no, I got to get my mind right. Thing. I got to do my thing. You know what I'm saying? So I spent my time reading, going over my morning stuff that I do. And it's in these moments of stress, you guys, that what you're made of really comes out. And I want people to know, number one, if you're struggling in your business, if you're like freaking out, for whatever reason, if the financial freedom that you want seems like it's 10,000 miles away, we all deal with that. Every one of us deals with it. The difference between, and I'm talking like the gurus of the world, the Anthony Robbins and, all those guys, right? Like that all preach this shit and teach it and write books and this and that. They struggle with it too.
Everybody
right? Just
does.
Because everybody does, right? And it's just how you manage it. And do you make the choice every day to control what you have control over? And after that, what was your live and battleground this morning, right?
Yeah, sometimes life is going to punch you in the face, but you get to choose how you react,
Mm-hmm.
And I hear you talking about all this, Tom, and I immediately want to go tactical because I have something that's so easy for people to implement that if they're hearing this will change their life. And it's so easy. Would it be okay if I share that?
Of course.
Yeah, so that was Shin Fu. For those of you that aren't familiar, that was Shin Fu right there, okay? I'm vanguarding that. I'm asking permission. Hey, but check this out. A wise man, it just happens to be Tom Reber, shared this question with me. When life gets like that and things are happening and you don't know what to do next, there's one question we can all ask ourselves. And that is, what is one thing that I can do right now that will help me move the needle forward in my business or my life? It's just one thing at a time. So when you walk into that room of the hoarder's house and you're tasked to clean it up, you don't know where to start. You just start with one thing.
Are you in my brain?
Take the next thing, dude. Right? But this is why we're like peanut butter and jelly. We think the same way. So if you're here and you're feeling the financial struggle and you're a slave to the business, you ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to move the needle forward to help me get out of the financial struggle? And that's kind of what we're here talking about today is what can we implement? What can we do now to help us get out of this?
Yeah. At the top, we talked about how when we started, we were enslaved, had no clue we were week to week, check to check, day to day sometimes. And, the money department and how many times you lie awake at night. And I remember like lying there sweating. I was so stressed about the money. And listen, I also want to say this. Your company, my company, fucking Grant Cardone's company, every fucking Elon Musk, Bob, the little GC guy that just started his new business, whatever, every single business has these problems, right? Every single business, they're just bigger. Every business has cycles where cash flow is tough. Mm-hmm. Every business has periods of time where, you feel like you couldn't sell a job if you were doing them for free. Like, you know what I mean? Like or the phone has growing fucking cobwebs on it because you have no leads coming in. You have those moments where you got shithead employees or subs or whatever. We all have these things, you guys. And, so first I want to say that, like, you're never going to arrive to a point where there's never going to be any problems. Greg Whitstock, my buddy who owns Aquascape, he's always said for years that business is nothing more than solving problems, right? Because as long as you have a business and there's people involved and there's customers involved, which are also people, right? And there's equipment that could break and XYZ, you fill in the blank with all these things, you're going to have problems. And so the best business owners are the ones that just go, let's identify the right problem and let's fix it. And so one of the things that we've discovered over the years, through our own journey and our own businesses and helping a lot of people is, when I look back at me being just a wreck financially, it came down to really two things. I didn't understand my numbers and I didn't know how to sell. If I just want to make it the two most simple things, and these are actually two pretty simple fixes that I think we make more complicated than they need to be. Yeah. And so with that in mind, every contractor millionaire I know has basically developed confidence in their numbers, and they've learned how to sell, and they have a great sales process. And when you master these two things, selling at the right prices, your money situation is going to get better. And so we're recording this in July of 2024. And, as a former Marine and you as a former Army guy, G.I. Joe over there, you know what Army stands for, right?
Go ahead,
ready
Tom,
for Marines yet? Ain't ready for Marines
Alert.
yet. Anyway.
I forgot to say, I'm also allergic to crayons.
Yeah, love you. But anyway, the 4th of July is a special day for us, for all America, but I think a lot of people in the military and veterans. And so this month here in July, it's America's 248th birthday. And we want to celebrate the 56 men that actually had the stones to sign a piece of paper that was basically signing a death warrant for them, and their families. And they sacrificed so much, and they sacrificed so much so that we can have this country that we actually have freedom in, despite the issues our country has. We still have the best place in the world to live. And
right.
So as you guys can tell, freedom is pretty important to us. And that's why in July here, we're actually dropping our two most popular programs for one price, and we're calling it the Freedom Bundle. And there's two components to this. There's the Nail Your Numbers course, and then there's the Shin Fu sales training course. And I want to just kind of touch on these for a little bit. Let's start with Nail Your Numbers, man. Like somebody grabs this, what can they expect?
So the Nail Your Numbers course, it's so cool because this is something that will open your eyes to things that maybe you've never thought about before. And you can do it, sitting at home on the couch with no pants on, just watching this, learning this video series. And it's not like overly complicated. This is taking basic stuff. You don't have to have all these crazy financial statements. All you got to do is have your checking account statements, your credit card statement, or whatever. It's basic business stuff. We built the calculator for you so you can calculate. So we did all the hard work, all the heavy lifting. All you have to do is absorb and then implement, put it into your own business. And this will give you the clarity. It'll give you the starting point. When I coach numbers, I tell people, we set goals on where we want to be. And it's like putting an address into GPS, like into Google Maps or something. But that's only half the battle. We have to know exactly where we're starting from so we can shape the path to get to where we want. And this is where the Nail Your Numbers course comes in. It tells you exactly where you are, but then it helps you make a plan for where you want to be. It helps you illuminate the things that need to be changed in your business, whether you're not selling at a high enough profit margin, whether you're not selling enough projects, or whether you have too much overhead. This is what's going to give you the insight and the clarity that you haven't had in the past. That way you can take a deep breath and make a plan to move forward.
Yeah, I know you and I recorded this together, this course, and we really dug into the mindset around money. We jumped into understanding how much it really takes to operate your business in a day, which is something that a lot of people don't understand. And I didn't either at a point, but and on that point, yesterday inside of Battleground, I did the numbers call for this month. And I talked about, one of the things I touched on was just understanding that, how important it is to fill all the open days in a month. I call those the airplane seats, right? You don't want the plane taken off with empty seats. And I took an example. I said, if you had an overhead of 20 grand a month, and there are 22 working days in the month, that's usually the average. It's like $910 a day to run your business without your field costs.
Yep.
I mean, just guys, think about that for a minute. Do you know what that number is for you? I'm not even talking what you pay your guys in the field. And so, that's your salary. It's the marketing, it's your truck payments, it's your shop rent. It's all those different things that, I shared that overhead is like a fucking teenager. It's like a teenage boy that all they do is eat. All it does is eat, and it snacks frequently throughout the day. It never stops. And so just for clarity, if you got $910 a day, and say you got a 3-man team in the field, all right, and you divide that by 8. Let's see, you got 910 divided by, what's that, 24 man hours? Yeah, it's $38. That's $38 per hour that you need to charge just to cover the overhead, not even pay for the field, and not even have a net profit. Okay, and that's what we dig into in this course. We talked a little bit about some of the basic math terms, right? That you'll need to understand. We dig into 7 numbers that make your business tick. That I know a lot of people have been fired up with that, and so just creating a situation where with 100% certainty what your price needs to be. You're not second guessing yourself. You're not sitting there going, I'm going to revise this thing 17 times before I send it, and be all insecure. Because that insecurity comes out in everything you do. But when you look at a prospect, you're on the phone with them and you look at them, and I go, I had a guy with I shared earlier, for those who don't know, I started a new painting company here in town, Colorado Springs, called Simplify Painting. And I'll go into that later. I'm documenting the journey, and it's pretty cool. I'm excited. But, I was I Shin Fu'd this guy, went out, met him, sold the job, and we're standing there when I told him the final price. And I just said, hey, for this, and this, and I just held up my iPad and I go, you're looking at about, right at $3,400, for this little paint job. And he goes, wow, that's a lot more money than I thought it was going to be, even though I bracketed his ass on the phone. Right. And they always think it's going to be lower when you come out or something. And it's like,
it's magic.
Yeah. And I looked at him and I just go, I know it's crazy, isn't it? I said, I literally we had a great rapport. I go, shit just costs way more than we want it to cost. So what's our next move? And he's like, fuck it. Let's do it. But it was that confidence. It was the confidence. I didn't go into the justification and all that. So anyway, we touched on Nail Your Numbers. I'm kind of oozing into the other course that we're doing as part of this bundle.
Is the prerequisite.
Yeah. This is the Shin Fu sales training. How do you explain what Tim and Derek did in that training to people that haven't seen it yet?
Oh my gosh. This is like a mixture of like the Da Vinci Code and what's that movie? I was just thinking about it. It's with Matt Damon. He's like just a super, super math nerd. I don't know. Squirrel moment flew away.
Yeah.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting. There it is. Yep. It was coming to me. It was coming. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tim and Derek are like these guys when it comes to sales. They just, liquid gold comes out of their mouth. They are smooth as silk, but they've been doing it a long time. And in this training, they take the steps of the Shin Fu and they break it down into easy digest components to where you can learn step by step how to communicate with clients in order to connect with their why, connect with their motive, and make sure that you're even talking to the right people that are going to buy from you. This is to pre-qualify your clients, because if Tom calls me and Derek and Tim call me, they might not all be my client. Now, I don't want to waste my time going to all their houses. If Tom's going to be the one that I connect with and is okay with my prices, then I'm gonna go visit Tom and I'm gonna sell Tom a project. But if Tim and Derek are kicking tires, then they're gonna keep kicking tires, right? But it saved my time. So this is brass tacks, Shin Fu, how to communicate. And it's not just sales. This is everywhere in life. This is just a new way of communicating with people in general, and it'll open new doors all the way around.
Yeah, you're talking about pre-qualification, which, there's objection handling and there's all the other aspects of the sales process, right? But like you said, I like how you framed it, that It's really about how to communicate with another human being. And it's,
Yeah.
there's all these courses and sales training and scripts about when they say this, you say this, and blah, blah, blah. And that's very robotic. And the way we teach it, um, and with a lot of role plays and practice, you will master this. It's more of a conversation, and it's a framework of how to communicate with people. Even like just like they said, the guy was like, "Oh, this is a lot more money than I thought it was going to be." That's an objection.
Yeah.
Now the old Tom would have been like, "Well, overhead and gas prices and inflation and blah blah blah, and this and that, and they don't give a shit." Or worse, in the past, they'd give me that and I'd go, well, I could discount it 10%, right? And you start giving away your money. And so that was the old Tom many years ago. And this time, and again, the context of this conversation with this guy, you got to understand, we had a really good banter going back and forth, so I could be a little more aggressive, and he's
Right.
like, man, this is a lot more money than I thought. And I'm like, I know, shit just costs so much more than we think it's going to cost. And I actually told him, like, my truck, I'm going to need a new truck soon. And I'm like, I'm going around these lots and I'm online and I'm just kind of looking, and I'm going on Sundays because I don't want a fucking sales guy talking to me right now. I just want to kind of go, what do I want? Right. And I said, and I told this guy, I said, I know shit just costs more than you want. I said, I'm looking for a truck right now, and they're all like 20, 30 grand more than I fucking want to spend, but I know I'm going to end up doing it because that's just what it costs.
You gotta have
and
it.
that's when he was like, right? And then he's like, yeah, whatever. So, and there's also, I was reading, so back, see it, it's useful already today. I told you this morning that my temptation was just jump right into work. And I'm like, no, I got to read, I got to do my stuff. And I was reading this book, and he was talking about this data of salespeople. There were two companies. One company was spending like, we'll just make it, I'll make up the numbers because it was very complicated the way the author wrote it. So like my company is spending an average of an hour with our prospects. This other competitor who was kicking their ass was spending like 4 hours with the prospects. Okay. And so this guy was consulting the first company, and he basically taught them how to pre-qualify better so that they could put way more time into the right buyers. And that's exactly what you were talking about. That's what we see in the fight all the time with our members. And where, guys, if you got 10 leads coming in this week, it probably only makes sense for you to actually see 2 of them. But you can give those 2 your very best, and you're not distracted. You don't feel like you have to get to the next one, and just run around and try to keep up. That's just one of the huge benefits. But it's really communication on steroids, and we teach you really how to build trust with people by just being a great communicator. And so guys, our Freedom Bundle here, you're what we got going on here. You can hit the link below. I don't know the domain. You'd think I'd know the domain to our own thing, and I've asked the team in Slack here, and I don't have an answer yet, which is fine.
the powers that be will have the right one in there.
Yeah, I just have notes on what we're doing, but I don't have the domain. So if you go down to the description or the show notes, wherever you're listening or watching this, you'll be able to find it there. So prepared.
We promise it will be there.
Well, I knew I had the notes. I had the notes here, and I made the assumption that the domain was in here, so it's on me. See, I'm owning my crap, man. But anyway, we're giving you both of these for only $248 in honor of America's birthday, 248 years. And so, guys, you can grab them both right now. You can save $100 and get them both for $248. Any parting words here of wisdom, advice, anything?
I'll say it, back to what we were talking about that paralysis, when you feel like the world's crashing down on you, you don't know where to start, and what's one thing you can do that'll move the needle forward. If you're asking yourself that, and you're in the financial strain, and you're feeling like you're a slave to your business, this is one thing that you can do, that you can implement, and you'll have immediate access to it. And if you do the work, if you watch the training and you put it into place, it will change the trajectory of your life and your business. And if you got questions about it, hit me up on Facebook. I'm in the Contractor Fight free group there. You can shoot
Yep.
me a DM. I don't care. Happy to chat. So, um, but Tom, it's always a pleasure, and I hope the right people hear this, and I'm so excited because I know it's going to help them. It's $100 off. It's almost a no brainer. It is a no brainer, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, guys, grab it and you will build your foundation. When you build the foundation, numbers and sales, a lot of good things happen in business. I mean, a lot of you guys that need people right now, you can't hire the people because you don't have the money,
Yep.
right? I mean, it's money makes a lot of bad shit go away. Doesn't solve every problem, but it certainly lessens the number of times you wake up during the week in a cold sweat.
That's
When
right.
you got some money
Get
in the bank.
sick and sick to your stomach. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, dude, I appreciate you. And guys, head to the link in the show notes or the description. Grab it. It's going through the end of July. You can get it and save $100. And with that, we appreciate you guys being part of the fight. Share the show. And hey, if you haven't given us a rating or a review, we would be super appreciative if you did that, because that actually helps more contractors find the show, which in turn, what do they say? A rising tide lifts all ships, right?
That's right.
You want your competitors to know this shit because it's going to rise all the boats together, right? So share the
Yep.
show, give us a rating and review. And with that, we're out of here. You guys rock. We got to roll. We'll see you.